So what do a surveillance law, a massive solar storm, and the future of your money all have in common? Well, according to a document we're looking at called the 2026 Infrastructure Readiness Briefing, they are all pointing to a single, critical moment in our very near future. Let's break down exactly what it says. What's so interesting is that this document doesn't see these as separate, random risks. No, it zeroes in on one specific time frame that it calls the July event. It's basically arguing that four seemingly unrelated parts of our world are on a direct collision course, creating this unique and pretty scary point of failure. All right, first up, the source points to something it calls a legal kill switch, and it says it's rooted in a very controversial piece of U.S. surveillance law. Specifically, the briefing hones in on Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. You've probably heard it called FISA. Now, on paper, this law is all about gathering foreign intelligence, but the document we're analyzing here claims its real-world application is something else entirely.
And this is where the briefing makes a really startling claim. It says this isn't just about spying. It argues this legal framework has actually created a pre-built kill switch for all digital communications, one that's just sitting there, ready to be flipped during what it keeps calling the July event.
Okay, so we have a legal framework for control. The second piece of the puzzle, though, it shifts from the world of law to the world of physics, looking at a threat that could physically shut everything down, the physical blackout. Now, we are not talking about your lights flickering during a thunderstorm. The source is focused on the catastrophic potential of a really powerful solar storm to destroy the physical backbone of our entire grid, these massive, extra high voltage transformers. The argument is that an event like this wouldn't just trip a breaker, it could literally melt the core components that make our world run.
So if one of these absolutely critical transformers gets destroyed, how long do you think it takes to replace it? A couple weeks? A few months? According to a Department of Energy report that's cited in the source, the lead time is 2 to 3 years. And that's not to rebuild the grid, that's to build and install just one of them.
And here is the convergence point. This is why it's a 2026 problem. The briefing highlights that July 2026 lines up perfectly with the predicted peak of something called Solar Cycle 25. That's the period when the sun is at its most active, and the chance of one of these massive, grid-threatening solar storms is at its absolute highest. So, we've got a legal kill switch and a vulnerable power grid. The third piece zooms way out, from a national threat to a single point of failure in the global network that connects every single one of us. The source points to the Malacca Strait as a huge vulnerability. And it's not just for ships, it's this tiny bottleneck where a massive number of the world's most critical subsea internet cables are all packed together. We're talking about systems like Unity and SeeMeWe that carry the data powering our entire global economy, and they all run through this one tiny little corridor. And to really drive home just how fragile this spot is, the document uses a pretty powerful metaphor. It claims a mere 10-minute disruption here would be like a heart attack for the global economy. It's highlighting a terrifyingly critical single point of failure. Then, the source points to something that just happened, a massive signal drop in this exact region back on February 6th. Now, the briefing doesn't frame this as some random technical glitch. It suggests this could have been a dry run, a deliberate test of protocols to see if they could reroute global internet traffic if this choke point were ever taken offline.
And that brings us to the final piece of this whole puzzle. This one connects all of this to the future of money itself, and it points directly to a recent U.S. executive order.
This final piece is all about Central Bank Digital Currencies, or CBDCs. You can think of it as a digital version of the dollar, but it's issued directly by the government. The briefing links the big push for this directly to Executive Order 14067, which is basically exploring how to make a digital dollar a reality. But according to this source, the crucial argument here isn't about convenience, it's about control. The briefing frames this whole thing as a shift from an open system, where the cash in your wallet is yours to spend, to a brand new system of what it calls permissioned access, where every single transaction could, in theory, require approval before it goes through. Okay, so we've looked at the 4 distinct warnings from the source material. Now, let's put them all together and see the full picture that it's painting for July 2026. So, the briefing's central thesis, the whole point, is that these 4 vectors are not separate issues. You have the legal framework for digital control, the physical vulnerability of the power grid, the geopolitical fragility of the internet, and the financial shift toward a permissioned system. The document's entire purpose is to argue that they are all set to align,
creating a moment of maximum fragility in July 2026.
And that brings us to the final and, let's be honest, pretty provocative question the briefing leaves us with. It paints a picture of these interlocking digital, physical, and financial systems, and each one has a unique vulnerability that's set to peak at the exact